Learn to close your mouth. Not every detail about you is for public consumption. Everybody doesn't need to know every single detail about your life. Majority of people reveal things about themselves. They confide in people as a result of trust. They believe that by sharing privileged information about themselves is building a trust with the other person. But that is wrong because in the days of old, when the enemies wanted a king to reveal something or they wanted to get some kind of information off a king, they would send a woman. After much wine, revel, and dish, she would seduce the king to sleep with her. When she's done, she begins to ask the questions. And that's the most vulnerable time of the king in the days of old. The same thing with Samson. His reign and his kingship over the land was at the mercy of his mouth. As soon as he revealed that information, as soon as he said those words, he lost it. So learn to keep your mouth shut. Majority of you understand this because you've been so wounded from different kind of friends that you spilled information over. There's this thing, and you see it mostly in women. Oh babe, you're beautiful. I can't believe he asked for my number, not yours. That's weird. You're very gorgeous. And the moment they have a fight, well, you're very ugly looking. And the beautiful girl knows it would pain the ugly girl down to her core because she knows this is truth. Why would you want to hang around with a friend like that? Some of you have gone through experiences with a friend, small argument, and she says, if you talk anyhow, I would expose you. You know, I know all your secrets. They threaten you with the information you shared with them, and you feel very bad about it. So you're in this dilemma. If I lose this friend, or if I cut ties with this person, she would spill my secret. However, if I take the high road and still try to keep her at arm's length and still try to be friends with her, etc., she would keep this secret. However, but I'm not really interested in that relationship any longer. So you are in this dilemma. Either ways, you are like locked in the middle of a bull horns, in the middle of the horns of the bull. Either way you turn, you are God. So learn to keep your mouth shut. Learn to be quiet. So the other thing to look at is people say, well, if I keep silent and if I just keep silent, then the other person gets to lead the conversation by asking you questions which will ultimately produce the same result. So whether you keep silent or you speak, the same outcome happens. So how do you get free from this dilemma? How do you break out? Master the art of talking nothing. If you watch, I watched this podcast or interview with Mr. Zuckerberg, and he was ranting all about. They would ask him a question, and he would go on 2 minutes talk, saying nothing relative to that question. And people in the comments are posting things like, perhaps Zuckerberg update hasn't gotten the necessary requirements to answer that question in a very coherent manner. That is a very dumb thing to think that someone who built trillion dollar conglomerate can't even answer a simple question. My friend, he has mastered the art of saying nothing. I'll be in like a date with a female, for instance, and she would leave that dating table. Although I was the one who did most of the talking. I'm not saying you should be a talkative or always be talking like a clown. No, that's not what I recommend. What I'm saying is master the art of talking nothing. I'll be on a date with the lady and she would leave that dating table, although I did most of the talking, knowing more about Napoleon and the French Revolution, the French history, than about myself. So you have to sustain the ability to talk about other things that's not just you. So master the art of talking nothing. Master the art of saying a lot of nothing. That's the first thing. So manage what you review. Manage the things that you say. Majority of people believe that by revealing much about themselves, by revealing their intentions and goals, that people would perceive them as important. On a contextual platform, you are right, but from a holistic standpoint, you're absolutely wrong. We all know this guy, we all have this person who says little about himself, says vague, throwing vague sentences, and his presence is instantly heightened. We are drawn to that kind of person. There's an aura surrounding that kind of individual. The person who is confident in himself. He doesn't seek, he doesn't hinge in his confidence based on his achievements or what he plans to do. He prefers to let his work do the talking for him. You find out that as you keep restraining things, as you monitor what you review, what you do for a living. Yeah, I trade stocks and I'm into real estate. Yeah, a couple of other things. Not I trade stock, I'm into real estate, we built hundreds and hundreds of buildings. I'm into this, I'm into that, and boom, 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 boom. You are revealing all the things you do. You are showing him all your cards. Now, this is a very nuanced point. I do not need to keep balancing because I believe you are a collection of smart people. On your business card, that might be okay to do all of the aforementioned. On an interview or in a networking base, you don't necessarily have to show all your cards, but then there are certain scenarios where it is pertinent to show all what you do because it might be helpful to the other individual. However, that is not always the case. Speaking about what you intend to do in the future puts this kind of pressure on you. Now you are forced to deliver that which you promised. Now you are forced to fulfill the things you said. Most entrepreneurs watching me will understand that sometimes the things you set out to do might just be a stepping stone to the next big thing. Sometimes that big goal you set out to achieve might not be the real thing you want to achieve. It changes over time. For everyone who's set out a big goal, understand this. You cannot define your future in a very rigid manner from the limitation of your current standpoint. Imagine a 16-year-old you. Imagine asking the 16-year-old version of you, give me a rigid and detailed plan of how you're going to live the next 10 years of your life, from the relationship, from the lucky breaks you experience, to the managers, to the kind of people you meet, to the kind of thoughts you sustain, to the kind of materials you got access to. It's virtually impossible. The only thing you can say is the end goal. Like, I want to build $1 trillion company. How you do it might not be clear to you. It might not be as opaque as it would be in the future. However, the end is what you have predefined, not necessarily the pathway. There are million ways to make $1 million. You know this is true. And let me break it down to you people. If you bring five different people, ask them, how do you make how did you how or what are you currently doing? One might say a tailor, a software programmer, an engineer, etc., etc. All of these outlets, we have people making millions and millions of dollars in its variety. So when they say there are million ways to make $1 million, and you who's poor, you who's wishing for any kind of thing, would hear that and think it is impossible. This example validates what I was saying earlier. So monitor what you review. Monitor to the extent in which you review. Do not review your future plans and goals. Yes, when you review it and talking about it, you release this dopamine and energy. You want cheerleaders, you want people to root for you. you notice when you refrain from that kind of activity, you see that it begins to draw a certain kind of people, people who prioritize action, people who prioritize end product and results over talking. When you keep talking about your goals and putting in zero to no effort, you keep attracting sympathizers and naysayers. Don't pressure yourself unnecessarily to achieve goals. For some people, they might need this kind of motivation. More often than not, it's totally unnecessary. So if there's anything you've gotten out from this video, monitor what you review, monitor to what extent in which you review, and you'll be fine. As always, friends, I'll see you in the next one.